Hello YouTube, it's me Brittany, and today I'm going to talk about dating while trans, and it's just going to be a broad topic of the good, the bad, and the ugly. But before we get into that, it is just a crazy world out there right now with all this coronavirus going on. I've been really struggling whether or not I should do a video this week, but then I was like, I'm work an essential job, so I'm an overnight dispatcher, so I'm still going to work actively throughout this entire process. Meanwhile, my roommates are self quarantining, and I'm sure a lot of you are self quarantining. So while I'm not sitting at home bored, I was like, well, maybe they're sitting at home bored. So let me just do these topics that I've had been sitting on and waiting. I was going to do them earlier this week, but it just didn't feel right. So so here, before we get fully into that, if this is your first time watching me, thanks so much for checking in. I do a lot of videos like this. They're all to be helpful. If you have questions, feel free to ask. This is the first part. This week I am actually working on another video called tips for dating a trans girl later on this week, but this is just my dating while trans, the good, the bad, and the ugly, just my personal experience as a straight trans woman dating. But if you have not subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. Feel free to ask me any questions. Also, I have a new Twitter account. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at BrittanyRose2, BrittnyRose 2. Also, my Patreon, if you want, I'll get all into that a little bit later. But anyways, let's get into today's topic, because I'm sure all of you guys are stressed and don't really want to hear about the craziness of coronavirus going on. So, I'm going to stress that dating while trans is an adventure. So, and I have been actively doing this, and I kind of want to stress that this is kind of my experience as a straight trans woman. So, I don't think that my sexuality changed at all. I've always preferred men. I've just practiced in free love. So, I've had relationships with women, I've had relationships with men. I've just kind of always gone around. I've never really set myself into a sexuality. However, I will call myself a straight trans woman for this video that I'm doing right now. And basically, I want to say that it has been a huge adventure, but we'll start with the good. So the good is that you will, and possibly, hopefully, find someone to love you, and someone to be with, and that adventure will definitely be not be easy, but it will definitely it will come. Just patience and take time, and I promise you, I was extremely frustrated a lot. You're going to go through a lot of that frustration, but in time you will find someone. I currently do have someone I'm dating right now. I don't really expose it too much. He's actively been in the hospital for the last week, so it's been a very frustrating week for me as well. It's another reason why I haven't made videos. So I've been a little bit depressed and stressed because I can't get a hold of him, I can't see him, can't talk to him, and it's a bunch of baloney. But it's a good thing that I have found someone, and I hope that someday you will find someone. So there is a good thing. Not all guys are bad. A lot of guys are actually, they really are genuinely wanting to get to know you, and they want to date you, but you just have to, be hesitant. And that's what I'm going to get to with this. With the bad is that the lack of real prospects that you're going to see while dating as a trans woman is very frustrating, since unfortunately a lot of us are forced into the sex industry, and a lot of the generations before us and the generations now are raised in the sex industry as far as knowing their transgender knowledge, as far as what they know about trans people at all. So when they look at us, unfortunately, a lot of people are looking at us merely as sex objects. So that's what I say when you have a lack of real prospects. You can actually really find these out. It's hard to find dating outlets online as well, which is another bad. But one of the best thing about online dating is that it helps to weed out some of these tranny chasers. I hate to use that term, but that's really what they are, and you're gonna deal with a lot of them, and they're gonna be basically out there trying to just get with you because you're trans. They have no real interest in a relationship. They just are sexually interested in you for kind of a fetish thing. And I have nothing against people like that, but that's not my life. like when we get into a relationship, we can talk about, you know, our fetishes things, and you'll realize that a lot of trans girls actually do have kind of a crazy side. But uh it's not how we want to start a relationship or date. That's not dating for us. So for me, I looked for things like, if they ask questions like in within the first 5 to 10 messages, if they're asking questions like, are you pre-op or post-op, that's a red flag for me. That's like, okay, well, why does that even matter? Because, you know, like, if you looked at the faces, the pictures that I posted on my profile, none of that signified that I was trans. The only thing anything that signified that I was trans was I put it in my profile for safety reasons, and I'll get into that when we get into the ugly here in just a second. But so you're gonna talk to a lot of guys. You're going to be rejected a lot because they're going to see you as attractive, especially in online dating. They're not going to read that profile that says you're trans. It's going to look at the pictures. They're going to find a pretty girl. They're going to start talking to that pretty girl. And then they're gonna be like, hey, I want to meet, da 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 da. And then you're gonna be like, okay, well, I just need to make sure that you've read everything and understand everything in my profile, because I don't want another incident to happen to the ugly. Here we go. And that's what's basically gonna be like about 95% of your rejection, is they missed that transgender, and now they're freaking out, and they're not okay with it. So they're just either gonna hopefully say no thank you and wander away. These are the good guys that are not so bad, you know. But a lot of times they're going to be really hateful and mean. They're going to say pretty mean things. I had a guy accuse me of misleading him, and I was like, it's been in my profile this entire time. How could I have been misleading you? You should have actually just read, maybe. But I can't make guys read, apparently. So a lot of the bad deals with being rejected over and over and over, and feeling like you're never ever ever gonna find anything. And I dealt with that for a long long time. And honestly, I just stopped trying. Like, I only really kind of I made guys, like, I gave like a 50-word limit or a 50 digit limit or whatever, so that they couldn't just say hey. Like, they actually had to say something to me, you know. And then it actually started a conversation, so that maybe I had a chance with some of these guys. And that kind of helped a little bit, but it still took a full year and a half before I found the boyfriend that I have right now. And we talked online for almost 6-7 months before we officially, you know, started dating, and stuff like that. So it is kind of stressful and frustrating. However, there is good to come in the future. So just look for that future. However, the ugly when it comes to dating while trans is that it is kind of dangerous in some instances. When I speak of this, is that I have done it myself. I know a lot of girls that do it as well. Is they go out into the bars, and when I travel, I do it all the time. Like, when I go on vacation, like, I'm taking a 3-week vacation in September, hopefully. Hopefully it's still good. I will live stealth. And basically what it is I just don't really like openly portray as trans. I don't like tell people I'm trans. Like, if somebody asks me, I will tell them. I'm not going to hide myself in any way. But I do my best to try to live as stealth as possible. And I know a lot of girls do this in dating as well. And what I say is, this is a very dangerous thing to do. It puts you in a very dangerous position, because whereas online, when you tell someone that you're trans, they can say all the mean things they want to say to you. But in person, when you've been flirting with a boy all night long for 3, 4, 5 hours, and he's been buying you drinks that you've been pretending to drink, because you don't drink alcohol and you're just a big old pothead. So, like, you've been pretending to drink all these drinks all night long, and now at the end of the night, he wants to give you a phone number, he wants to kiss, he wants to do all these things. And some of those things are okay, but eventually boys are handsy, and so boys are gonna put their hands in places that are gonna get you in trouble. And if you haven't revealed that you're trans to them, then you put yourself in a position where I have had to be at some points where I have to defend myself. And I have been physically assaulted twice since I've transitioned. Once where I was able to basically escape the vehicle that I was in, and had to basically tuck and roll and bail out, and I scraped my arm up really bad, but that was the brunt of my injuries. But I had, like, a guy who, you know, was being really nice to me, was offering to give me a ride home from the bar. I didn't think it was going to be anything more than that. Turned out to be more than that. And then whenever I was like, hey, I need to tell you if you wanted to get further, like he was like, well, you da 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 da, and it was just a huge controversy. And he started to swing at me across his truck, and I said no, and we came close to a stop sign, and I said, I'm out. And it was scary at the time, and I hope that you never get into that situation, because it's not safe. It's dangerous. And the best thing to do is just to be forthcoming with and forthright with who you are as a trans woman, especially once it starts to become serious in dating. So pre-op and post-op, those are legitimate questions when it comes to dating. Not in the very beginning, however, those are conversations that I've had with my boyfriend at this point, obviously, but we've been dating for 5 months. But like, so those are real conversations that you do have to have. However, it's not something that you should be looking to have right away. Get to know the person right away is really what I hope that happens for me, and what I kind of push for whenever it comes to dating for me. So just be really careful out there. Make sure that you let your friends know. If you're going on a date, let your friends know where you're going. Text them. I actually keep my location set on for a few of my friends on my phone, for my iPhone. We all have iPhones, and I keep the location on so that at any point, like, they can find me and my exact location based on my phone. So let's hope the person who rapes and mugs me doesn't take my phone and break it and destroy it anyway. So let's keep our fingers crossed. But anyways, for the most part, they know where I'm at. So like, if I say, hey, I'm going on a date tonight, they can look at the phone midway, an hour later, and say, oh yeah, she's sitting at a restaurant. Okay, so she's on a date. Da 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 da. Just be safe. Find your own ways to think of precautions for yourself. And be ready. It's an adventure. It's a fun adventure. I mean, dating is always going to be a fun adventure, but it can be challenging. Don't let it beat you down and stress you, because I promise you, it will have a positive side towards the end. But anyways, that's all I really have to say about today's topic. Thanks for watching. I know a lot of you guys are stuck in quarantine. If you have not hit that subscribe button already, please hit that subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter, Brittany Rose 2, at Brittany Rose 2. I'm not liking the 2. I'm gonna try to maybe change that name here soon. But if you find me on Twitter, it's at Brittany Rose 2. Also find me on Facebook, anything like that. Remember, this is an interactive channel, so please feel free to ask me any questions. I love every single one of you guys, and we'll talk to you guys all later. Stay safe out there, people.